This morning, Defense for Children International confirmed that more than 1,030 children in Gaza have been killed by Israeli forces since October 7th. That is one child, Mr. Speaker, every 16 minutes. That is one child every 16 minutes. And now we are reading reports that Hamas is stealing what little humanitarian aid is available for civilians. Let's be clear. Hamas is making already vulnerable Palestinians suffer further in the siege. Palestinians have been suffering from Hamas brutality, as well as the absence of real democratic Palestinian leadership. And with the dangerous influence of external states like Iran, this has made things very, very much worse. But it does not absolve Israel of its obligations to protect civilians, nor does it absolve Canada of its obligations to call out violations to international law when they occur. United Nations Relief Chief Martin Griffin said yesterday, the past week has been a test for humanity, and humanity has failed. The forcible transfer of 1 million people from their homes is not an evacuation, it is illegal. Babies in incubators unable to be relocated. Medical staff refusing to abandon these babies, knowing that they may die in the coming days. Gazans are afraid to be pushed into Egypt because they do not know if they will be allowed back. This is a humanitarian and political disaster of enormous proportions, and Canada is silent. Where is the government in condemning this siege, this forcible transfer, this humanitarian crisis? The minister has spoken to her Israeli counterparts. The Prime Minister has spoken to the leader of Israel to convey Canada's support. But in any of those conversations, has Canada told Israeli officials that this scale of revenge, these clear violations of law, are unacceptable to Canadians? So many Israelis are speaking out against Israel's actions in Gaza. Survivors of the Hamas terrorist attack are asking for peace. They are saying, not in our name. They are asking for the release of hostages, including Canadians. Maoz Inon, whose parents were murdered by Hamas, said, and I quote, "I am not crying for my parents. I am crying for those who will lose their lives in this war. We must stop the war. We are not seeking revenge. Revenge will lead to more suffering and more tragedies." Yonatan, the son of Canadian hostage Vivian Silver, has said the following: she would be mortified by the attack on Gaza because you can't cure killed babies with more dead babies. We need peace. Vivian Silver is a member of Women's Wage Peace. She has spent years working for peace and justice in Israel and Palestine. Yesterday, Women Wage Peace made the following comments: "We hear words of revenge. We hear all restraints have been removed. We'll wipe out Gaza. But one cannot resolve injustice with another injustice. We in this House need to be thinking of both the short-term humanitarian crisis and also the long-term. New Democrats for decades have called for an end to the occupation and for a just peace for Israelis and Palestinians. This year has already been brutal for all in the region, before the terrorist attacks, before this new siege of Gaza. And now we are moments away from a broader war that could engulf the entire region. We are moments away from an alarming and long-term refugee crisis. We are further from peace, Mr. Speaker, than we have ever been. We speak of ending the occupation, but we are so far away from a political solution. And the little government is failing to step up. It's failing to step up for international law, for Israelis, and for Palestinians. This is the moment to call for calm. We are witnessing an increase of attacks on Palestinians in Jerusalem and in the West Bank by settlers and Israeli security. We have seen reports of abuses of Israeli families who are demanding that the leadership of the Israeli government put the hostages first. People are divided. People are hurting. Mr. Speaker, the only solution is a political solution. There is no military solution to this conflict. I am begging the government to realize what that they say now matters. It matters so much, and they must call for a ceasefire. Canada must support international justice efforts by the ICJ and the ICC to investigate war crimes by all military actors in Palestine. All war crimes by all parties in this conflict must be prosecuted. Canada must call for a ceasefire and an end to the forcible transfer of civilians. And I want to end by thanking all Israeli and Palestinians working to preserve life. Medical workers, humanitarians, human rights advocates, those calling for peace, ordinary people doing what they can in the face of such horror. They are the light in this darkness. We see you and we stand with you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.